Hi there, it's Mark from Porta-Jib. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about balancing a fluid head properly for the jib arm. Now, I know you think you know how to balance your fluid head, but most of us, when we're on a tripod, we do it by feel. You're feeling the amount of resistance on the tilt, the amount of resistance on the pan. You kind of do a little bit on the spring adjustment. Yeah, that feels good. And away you go. And when you're on a tripod, that may work perfectly well. But if you don't really properly balance it, when you go to transfer that head to a jib arm, it can cause you some problems and make your jib work a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Now, for example, I've got this setup where the spring tension on the tilt is actually a little bit too tight for where we want it to be on a jib. So as you can see, when I tilt it and let go, it's springing back. So I've got too much spring. So if I were okay with that on the tripod and I put it on here, and now I go to do a jib move, and let's say I'm coming down to here and I want to continue the move, not the jibbing down, but just a tilting down. Well, you see what's happening is as I tilt, there's so much resistance, I'm lifting the arm of the jib arm. It's making it go up. So I'm trying to hold this to keep it from going where I don't want it to go. That's why it's important to get this relationship of the spring tension and the fluid tension set up properly. And of course, it's important that the fore and aft adjustment on the sliding plate be proper so that it's equally front heavy and back heavy. And of course, it works better on your tripod when you do it that way as well. So here's the trick. You don't just do it by feel. The idea is, and any good fluid head is going to have this adjustment of an independently controlled fluid drag modules and spring tension. On a Cartoni head, the beautiful thing about this is it's continuously adjustable. But most of your heads are going to have like click stops or levers that engage different spring tensions so that you can get it very close to where it needs to be. So you start by simply dialing this all the way down so you have no fluid drag whatsoever, so that all we feel is what's going on with the spring. And then you adjust the spring. So in this case, it's still springing back, so I need less spring tension. The idea is you want it to stop in whatever angle you left it. Then the spring is doing its job. It's counterbalancing. Now, when you're on a tripod, if you like more resistance, you put in the amount of fluid drag. You don't mess with the spring again to whatever feels good. But when you're on a jib arm, you're going to want that to be very light so that it doesn't want to make the arm go somewhere when all you're trying to do is make a tilt move. When you're on a tripod, you can have a lot of drag, but on a jib arm, you want it very, very light so that you get that nice floating Steadicam kind of feel to the head. The same principle applies to the pan. There's no spring involved, but on a tripod, you can have lots of resistance, but when you're on the jib, you want it really light so that as you make a pan, you're not swinging the arm. So that's our tip for the day. Subscribe to us on YouTube and visit us at portajib.com.